you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books. Today we're talking about Disney's civil war between Kevin Feige and Bob Chapek. They don't agree, but are either one of them even right? Do they know what they're doing? Do they know what they want to try to do? It's getting nuts over at Disney. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk about this article from bleedingfool.com, Civil War at Disney. But if you know me, you know I like to go ahead and have other supporting articles as well. This talks about where all of Disney's money is really coming from. Disney's new pricing magic, more profit from fewer theme park visitors. They're jacking up their prices majorly, and they're using that to kind of hide their financial results. Also, we're going to look at, just real quickly, Kevin Feige doesn't need this job, so he's going to do whatever it is he wants to do. He just bought a $52 million Bel Air mansion in California, and good for him that he's got the money for it. That means he can make woke things whenever he wants to. We're also going to take a look at the guys who got fired by Bob Chapek for not doing what Bob wanted them to do, and how Kevin Feige is kind of heading that way, where he's just kind of going off and doing his own thing. And can Bob Chapek even control him? It really doesn't seem like it. Why did Disney want to even acquire Marvel in the first place? This goes back to 2009. We'll just touch on this for a minute, breaking down Disney's acquisition of Marvel. And also, the box office has completely collapsed, theatrical box office, and Top Gun could actually be number one next week. And of course, DC is, what are they busy doing? David Zaslav is going to fix this. He hasn't quite fixed things yet because DC is introducing a non-binary Schoolfriend for Damian Wayne and John Kent, as if that's what DC really needs to turn things around. They're getting to it. They just haven't gotten to it yet. We'll get to it right now, though. So before we do, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications and give it a thumbs up when you like it. It's a huge help. Okay, is there a civil war at Disney? Let's look at the article and the information behind it. Now, right here in the article, they say that merchandise sales, cruise bookings, and theme park revenues have been doing well for Walt Disney. But the movie and television studios have not. Now, we did just do a story yesterday, very successful video actually, check it out, about how it looks like the merchandise sales are being presented like they're doing better than they are because the parks are doing better than they are by combining them in one financial category. I'll have a link to this article again in the description so you can check it out. This is from Cosmic Book News, great website. And as we saw right here from the Wall Street Journal article, what they're doing is raising prices at the theme parks because there are people that want to go to Disney that goes there like for every year. They really enjoy it. The prices have gotten so high, people are still going, but they say they're not going to continue to go every year. So basically, Bob Chapek is running up Disney's credibility credit card, and he's wearing it thin just to kind of keep things moving. But unless you dig into the financials and do the extra research, you wouldn't even know. So Pixar has finally returned to theaters with their worst performing release in years, Lightyear. And you know what the controversy around that was. Again, social justice, negative headlines. And the Star Wars brand hasn't even seen a cinematic release in years. So Star Wars used to be a huge movie franchise. You know that's why they bought it, right? But they don't even put out movies anymore? Like, what? Why? Because you know that the next SJW Star Wars movie, which they're forcing to be an SJW Star Wars movie, will completely destroy the brand, so they have to kind of pretend it's not really happening. For all the praise heaped on the Marvel brand, the films have been trending downward in ticket sales for the past 2 years. In fact, the last well-performing Marvel streaming show on Disney Plus was Loki. The reason the movies and the television divisions of Disney have been suffering is due to one thing: the inorganic insertion of radical left-wing identity politics into the productions. When you say inorganic and jamming it in there, it's like you can't just force stuff into a story. You can have a story about anything, and if the story is done well, anyone and everyone can enjoy it. They may not be familiar with it, but they may not see themselves represented in the story, but they'll enjoy it. So you can have a story be about anything, but when you take existing brands and you inorganically just jam the stuff in, apparently it's not that popular. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. But WDW Pro of That Park Place, really great website, really good insight. That Park Place says things could be about to change at the studio as Bob Chapek and Kevin Feige are no longer seeing eye to eye. Chapek doesn't even seem to know what he wants. At least Feige knows what he wants. He wants to destroy the Marvel brand. Okay. Chapek's like, well, you could destroy it, but maybe don't destroy it. This is That Park Place. Definitely check out the website. I'll have a link to it in the description below. Really interesting analysis. Chapek and Feige have been at odds publicly in the past. It was well known that Mr. Feige did not care in the least for the way Mr. Chapek handled the Black Widow streaming situation and subsequent lawsuit. Remember, Chapek knows the theme parks. He came from the theme parks, and he was very successful at the theme parks division for Disney. Then he became CEO when Bob Iger left. So in terms of dealing with talent, that has nothing to do with theme parks. So a lot of people got upset with Black Widow because Black Widow was set up to go direct to streaming as a pay-per-view, which at the time, I actually, to be honest with you, I thought was a great idea and a great business move. Didn't really work out that way. Nobody's perfect, and certainly neither is Chapek. But Chapek didn't even discuss it with talent, and it cost the talent a lot of money. There was a lawsuit. Very embarrassing to Kevin Feige. In Chapek's mind, Feige had pulled a Peter Rice. Why? Who's Peter Rice? Peter Rice is the guy that came out and was very supportive of the whole Don't Say Gay promotion, where they were fighting against the state of Florida, which cost them, God only knows, tens of billions of dollars, because they're now going to lose their control as their own Disney government, essentially, in Florida. So Kevin Feige, what did he do? He said he never wanted Black Widow to debut on Disney+. Okay, he may not have wanted that Black Widow to debut on Disney+. The thing is, when you're part of a company, you can't just speak out like that. Even when the company makes a mistake, everybody has to communicate. You have to kind of be on the same page, because if you don't, it makes it look like Chapek isn't in control of the company. So it's understandable that Feige didn't want to be known as the guy who was like, oh, let's put all our Disney franchises on Disney+. That's fine, but what a mess. So as you might push back against Chapek privately, it's a huge no-no to do so in the public eye. It is true. That was a mistake by Feige, even though it may have been a mistake by Chapek. Chapek should have communicated with Feige. Who knows? But surely Feige, in his unrivaled track record of billion-dollar mega blockbusters, is too big to fail, right? Think again. Within Disney, many of the more business-minded executives are looking at the situation and beginning to wonder out loud how much of Marvel's success over the years came from Jon Favreau's blueprint, from oddity successes like James Gunn, and how badly is Feige fumbling now that it's all on him? Good question. WDW Pro posits that the shift is noticeable in light of the She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law debut. The latest MCU television show on Disney Plus has not been well received by longtime She-Hulk fans. And the thing is, the whole world is not She-Hulk fans, right? The She-Hulk fans were not like 200 million people running around that were going to support it one way or the other. The problem is you do need the people who respect and are passionate about your ideas and your brands to stay with the brand, because everything else in terms of success is built on the backs of those people that are passionate about the brands. It's 1 times 100. So if there were 100,000 She-Hulk people that were really interested to see what it was going to be and how cool it would be, and it would be like the comics and all that, they will tell their friends. Those are an influencer group. It's really important. But Feige doesn't see it that way. In the past months, Disney's been quick to release some highly tailored spiel about how a show broke record viewership, all while hiding very specific details in the fine print that make the announcement far less exciting. But with She-Hulk, we've heard nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Seeing nothing on that front out of Disney makes quotes like the following a little more remarkable. Quote, there were so many points where I thought I have to kind of stay within the boundaries of what I imagined boundaries were for Marvel. And then Kevin Feige would tell me, no, go further, push it further. Why don't we try this? Why don't we go outside the box? From Jessica Gao, lead series writer. And also, according to Gao, she was given carte blanche essentially from the jump and told that no matter how outlandish an idea might be, chances were likely that Feige would be into it if it was genuinely good. More than simply liking the idea, though, Gao said Feige himself approved it, and she details Bruce telling Jen about how Steve lost his virginity on a USO tour. Let's just screw around with the continuity. Why not? These are the things that real people want answers to, Gao said. We want to know if Steve Rogers gets out there, if he's been in these streets, because that man is way too attractive to have gone through life and served this country and not have gotten some. Yeah, sure, why not? But the thing is, you can't just have random new people, like rando showrunners, like Gao, running things and deciding like big events about continuity. Like, I get dumped on sometimes because I'm such a fan of Jim Shooter's editorial-in-chief role at Marvel. But hey, I liked it. I thought it was great. You don't get to just assign perpetual things about continuity as a new person coming in. And Feige's just saying, yeah, sure, let's try it. Let's do it. Why not? WDW Pro says it's a big joke of Captain America not being a virgin that was the last straw for Bob Chapek. During the end credits scene, She-Hulk is drunk and lamenting the fact that Steve Rogers has a nice ass, but that he died a virgin. The Hulk tries to console her by admitting that Steve had sex with a USO chorus girl in 1943 when he was part of the show. Jen, who was just faking being drunk, celebrates learning the truth by shouting, "I knew it, Captain America, fuh." And then the scene cuts there. If you want to know why business execs are getting cold feet when it comes to Kevin Feige, look no further than the MCU leader being directly in charge of a show questioning Captain America's virginity. In case you're wondering, that doesn't sell toys. In case you're wondering, that doesn't drive theme park reservations. And lest you wonder, it sure doesn't quell the claims that Disney's obsessed with weird sex issues in programming that is, at least ostensibly indeed for some younger viewers, not appropriate. Could this be the moment that Kevin Feige is no longer the favored son at Disney? We'll see. So no failure has been too great for Kathleen Kennedy to lose her job title or status, but I still haven't ruled out blackmail on that one. Now, that's the author speaking. But people have to understand Kathleen Kennedy was there before Bob Iger was there. And as much as like you have a title of CEO, you could be director of the board of directors, you're in charge of programming, whatever it might be, relationships that go on decades and that are established relationships. In fact, it was George Lucas that decided that Kathleen Kennedy should be in charge of Star Wars before he left, having sold the brand to Disney. That doesn't get changed just because a new CEO comes in. There's respect for the creator when they're that big in Hollywood. Smaller creators, they could care less. They have no interest. And let me know what you think about that too in the comments below. But Kevin Feige doesn't need money, so he's just doing whatever he wants to do. And the truth is, nobody stays golden forever. Nobody's sharp forever. After a time, people get burnt out, they get weak, and if you're not like reinventing yourself constantly, you probably wind up like Kevin Feige, who right now is not producing hits. Back in the day, he was the guy. He was producing all the hits, but not anymore. Let me know what you think about that too in the comments below. Do you think Kevin Feige is still doing it, or do you think maybe not? When Disney acquired Marvel back in 2009, they actually acquired Marvel back when boy was an acceptable gender, and back when Disney had all these princess brands and they wanted a boys brand. This is from Publishers Weekly going back to 2009. And not only that, Bob Iger. Okay, so let me read this for you. The deal was announced by Disney president and CEO Bob Iger at an investors conference call where details of the new Marvel emerged a bit. Iger said buying Marvel made sense for Disney because, quote, Marvel has done a good job of understanding its characters and storylines. What was attractive to us about this deal was that it was about acquiring writers who know these characters and storylines well. Marvel's chairman and principal stockholder, Ike Perlmutter, will remain in charge of Marvel's operations, which of course hasn't continued. And Iger stressed that the current Marvel management team has been doing a great job and would be allowed to continue doing it. Well, yeah, the people who were managing Marvel at the time obviously knew the characters and storylines well. But what happened to that? Like, they're not interested in it anymore? No, not really. You know, they're not interested in the boy gender anymore. They're phasing that gender out. They're phasing out all the characters and all the storylines. That was 2009. That wasn't in, 1809. It wasn't 300 years ago or something. It was recently. It's not even 20 years ago. They shouldn't be changing all of this. Okay? But they are. This is another article. This is coming from The Ankler, which is an interesting entertainment media blog that I follow. And the theatrical box office has collapsed. Done very badly. It's gone so badly that Top Gun could actually be number one again next week. And Top Gun, I did a video about it. Phenomenal results. But it shouldn't be at the top of the box office results, right? Here's the quick box office results. The Invitation at 7 million. Bullet Train at 5.6 million. A 30% drop. Not terrible, but a 30% drop. Beast, a 58% drp. Top Gun Maverick, a 20% drop approximately, doing 4.8 million. Still good numbers. Dragon Ball Superhero, 4.5 million, a 78% drop from the opening weekend. So the people that wanted to see it saw it. It's not doing well. DC's League of Super Pets, 4.2 million, down 26% from last weekend. So it's on its way out. It hasn't even done 100 million domestic. 138 global? Why don't they have international distribution for this movie? 3,000 Years of Longing, 2.9 million. So literally next week, okay, John Boyega, if you like him, his movie Breaking did $1 million from 900 screens. It's not big numbers. So it's falling apart. And lastly, I promise you, David Zaslav will get to DC Comics very soon. I've been doing a lot of videos about that. You can check the David Zaslav Warner Brothers Discovery playlist I have. It's extensive. But for right now, this is coming from Bleeding Cool. DC introduces a non-binary school friend for Damian Wayne and John Kent. Why they're doing this at DC still, I don't know. I can't really see how that's going to help things. Look at his shirt. Not he, not she, just me. There's nothing wrong with being yourself and all of that. It's just, this is not going to get people who are interested in comic books talking about and buying comic books. It's just not going to work. It don't work that way. I'll give you a link to it if you want to find out all about this story. And Bleeding Cool does have some cool articles from time to time worth taking a look at their site as well. All right, well, be sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Huge help when you give me a thumbs up and you like the video. And I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.